Right, so here we are inside of the Sub7Up. This is quite exciting because I took one of these stock for a test drive. Very first video that I did, and it'll be quite interesting to see how this compares.
You need to go through your seat because race car. Can you help?
Help.
It's almost there, yeah. Keep pushing.
There we go. Right, awesome. See how this sounds.
And you can hear a bit of pops when it's cold.
Oh, that is nice. So just to go over the modifications that you've done to this car. You've got the exhaust, which is...
Yes, Guerrilla exhaust, full custom made 2.5-inch downpipe. The guys from Guerrilla were very kind enough for me to make actually 2.5-inch, 2.75 and a 3-inch downpipe.
Yeah.
And we thought by the general logic, the intuitive logic, like, let's put the biggest downpipe on it and have and actually the biggest downpipe showed even less horsepower and torque than the stock one. Yeah. I'm like, how is this possible? And then we put the 2.5, which is the smallest one, and it showed the most horsepower and torque gain, and it was the best thing we could get. Enough. So yeah, just a piece of engineering explained for you guys.
So stock, this is 90 psi.
Yeah.
But then right now, you've had this on the dyno?
Yeah, exactly. So right now it's 125 horsepower on the wheels.
Yeah. And
265 newton meters of torque.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Right, should we go for a little spin then?
Yeah, let's go for a little drive. Again, I'm very sad and disappointed that you unfortunately have to leave back to UK, so you cannot witness this monster on the track. But yeah, it's a fun little thing.
So how many times have you taken this on the ring? Because this is your personal car.
Yeah, this is
not
really,
for rent.
No, it's not for rent, so it's really my ring tool.
Yeah.
I must say I've done definitely over 100 laps with it, over 200 probably. I guess I live here, you know, and I do between 1 and 20 laps on a day.
Right.
Not with this car, but in general, like also as a passenger, as an instructor, or driving any other car, setting up any other car that we have. So it's really, yeah, it's hard to tell. But since the time that I had this car, I believe we bought it somewhere in April, and all the mods that we done, I can clearly say that, well, probably close to 500 laps maybe this year.
Right.
I don't know, a lot. I don't count them because recently I had a guy who commented on my M4 crash saying, I had 243 laps ever on the Nurburgring and I never crashed my car. I'm like, well, you're very special that you haven't crashed a car, but even more special that you didn't lose count of all those laps. So, yeah. And it's obviously more fun when you take the curbs with the semi-slicks and this racing goes. So it's fun, as you can see the traction control is holding us back, yeah. Unfortunately.
My word. This thing is definitely a beast.
It is, the beast of the green hell.
Absolutely.
Take it through a nice curvy road.
So the original plan for this was to be a rental?
No, not at all. It was always intended to be a car for as my private car.
Right.
When we started Apex, we had like one of the main questions, of course, because I'm a fairly public person with a YouTube channel and such, I'm more or less face of a company, where the question, what kind of car should I be driving to represent Apex? Should it be something like a fast and, well, a McLaren? Yeah, I had the McLaren, I still have the access to the McLaren, and so I used to drive it a lot, but the problem with such a car, in the beginning we were also thinking something more modest than a McLaren, but still like middle or high class, like Focus RS, or even like C43, the Mercedes, which is not C63, or maybe a BMW M something. But then I had the stock Up, the naturally aspirated version 60 horsepower one, the slow thingy, as a temporary car once I got back here to Germany, and people fell in loving with that thing in my audience. They were like, they love the up punts, or the upsetting, uplifting, setting up, waking up, and it was very fun. And then I thought, hey, look, Up just released, well, the Volkswagen released the Up TSI version, which is 90 horsepower and has turbocharger, and turbocharger means tuning potential. You can do something fun with it. Let's do it. And the thing is, with the Up, it starts from 12,000 euros. I don't know how much, what the starting price is in UK.
Well, it's roughly the same.
Roughly the same, because again, depends on the country with your tax and everything. But I truly believe if you have minimal wage job, you can at some point afford it Up. So it's something most of the people can relate to. If I'll be driving a McLaren, I'll be like, what not build, this kind of thing, and money. But this, again, this is something a lot of people can relate to, and it's so fun. That also another aspect that I want to show regarding our business, rental company, around the Nurburgring. I want to show people that you don't need 300, 400, 500 horsepower, 675 horsepower like the McLaren has to have fun. All you need is 125 horsepower. You can have the fun of your life. You can upset, again, sorry for the recurring pun, a lot of supercars who do not expect this type of car. As long as you know the track, as long as you're okay with going for it, you have a nice setup, you can have pretty fun lap times, pretty fun on the track. And this has worked out very well. It's funny enough, whenever I post a video of us servicing the McLaren, picking up another McLaren, because we had 3 of them, so during the year we bought one of those 3, the LT Spider. Those views are like, meh, okay, but the most views I get is whenever I post something like, oh, I installed another suspension on the Up, I put new brakes, I did a lap time, something. So people, the audience really enjoy this, because again, I think they can relate to it.
Yeah.
And they find it very fun that something like that is possible. A lot of mods and upgrades to such a fun, stupid little car.
Tyres on this, are they slicks?
There's a semi-slicks. This is the latest model of Nankang AR1s, and fun thing, because this was one of my first upgrades car.
Always with the up buttons.
Yeah, when I put them on, a lot of people were asking me in the Nurburgring car park, like, oh, what do you think of those? Because a lot of people, I've seen them obviously being offered and being for sale, being introduced, and they were thinking like, oh, should we get it? Because yeah, you always catch it with a new product, and you always want to stick to the more established names on the tire market.
Yeah.
And actually, I said, dude, I absolutely love them. And replies were always like, yeah, a mate of mine has them on his whatever track tool he has, and he's completely satisfied. But I couldn't believe him. But now that you say, and a lot of more people say that, I'm like, maybe they are worth a try. And so far I never heard anyone complaining about them, because they are, honestly, they are about 50% of the price of any other competing tire manufacturer, similar type of product which competitors offer.
Yeah.
But again, of course, you can say, well, they cannot offer the same amount of grip. No, they don't. The reality is they offer roughly 90 or 95% of similar amount of grip as 2 times more expensive ones. And you really have to be a real professional driver to be saying like, well, this is not enough grip, or be using that as an excuse. And you can put, if you go through two or three sets of tires, or maybe only one, depends how often you drive track, then you can justify saving this money and putting them into something else. As you can see, as you can feel, the ABS really needs to stop them during those typical wet Nurburgring conditions. But no, I'm overall very satisfied. In fact, even in the wet, you have a lot of predictability, lots of control over tires. There was a video where I was chasing one of the BMWs, one of ring taxis of Nurburgring, not official Nurburgring ring taxi, but one of the companies which offered taxi services. And the guy was so ashamed, and he came to me and said, "You should remove the video or else." And I'm like, dude, well, that's just admitting that you're a shit driver.
Yeah.
And of course, unfortunately, there are a lot of like company protective laws in Germany who say you should not badmouth a company. I didn't badmouth, I just put a video of it, but but I just didn't want any headache and I removed the video. But it says that this car, again, or those tires, semi-slick tires, when you look at them, they have like zero pattern on them. There's almost, you could almost classify them as a cheater slick, have as much control over them that you can keep up with almost 5 times more powerful BMW M3. It's very fun. Again, I'm very satisfied with them, and definitely I'm gonna in the beginning I was like, let me experiment with some other tires as well, but at this point I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna stick to them. Tires, another fun. Because I honestly don't believe it makes sense spending that extra amount of money, because maybe again if you're running like 500 horsepower, but at this time if you want to improve your lap times at 500 horsepower, you should put something more stickier, like full slick, and do a track day, because like again those amount of horsepower, this doesn't matter anymore. Brakes are okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are only drum brakes in the back.
Yeah.
So it's possible to convert them to like a polo brake, but overall, you don't need that much brakes because it's a very light car, and I don't find it necessary. I had like a group of guys who just bought the car just to come here to the Nurburgring to taste everything that they were seeing every day in my vlogs. They're like, we just couldn't have it, we just had to do it. And they came here.
What car did they come in?
There was a E39. Yeah, E39, and they did some laps. They were absolutely fun with it. They had a lot of fun. They were very happy with it. A lot of people who just like really also fly all the way from Australia just to like witness it in person, because they said like, we cannot, like, it's just a torture seeing all those amazing cars and you having fun on Nürburgring every day. We cannot believe that it's true, because a lot of YouTube content is also like really edited, and you think like you have only like, you know, it's only the good things. But again, one of the reasons why people appreciate my channel is that I also talk about bad things a lot. For example, a lot of people would hide away the crash of the M4. They would say it didn't happen, or it happened because well, there was some coolant and there was no video footage. But I actually released the footage, and of course, out of, I believe at this point, 1,000 comments, there are like 20 people saying, "Hey, you ran out of talent. You're just a shit driver." Like, do you know me, dude? You don't. But yeah, of course, I made a mistake. But don't just go make any bold statements. So. Yeah, again, we put up also the bad things, and that shows the real part of the Nürburgring, real part of living here, real part, and that's why people really love it. When once they come here, they see that it's completely real. Everything is real here, and the sun is shining after rain. No, it's still raining.
It's still raining, but the sun is shining.
And it's still raining. That's typical Nürburgring, typical Eiffel weather for you. If you come to drive it, and if you don't have a track prepped car, and even if then, I would really consider rent a car. Yeah. Although I run a rental business, yes. I'm trying to talk here. Thank you for saying. No, what I was saying is, although even I run a rental company, based on experience, there are two things that you can have problems with when you bring your car. A, you crash it.
Yeah.
And you still have to pay for your own car. Whether you pay for a rented car or your own car, you still have to pay for it. And the problem is, if you come from England or whatever, you need to bring the car back home. You need to get home. You need to drive that car back home. So, but if you crash a rental car, well, you crash it and you still have to pay. But for your own car, you also would have to pay.
Yeah.
The second point, if you don't have a track car, people think, oh, no, I'm not going to spend extra money. For example, I had yesterday a guy driving his own car. At the second lap, he burned his clutch. Because the car was, well, it was not that old, but it was like 2000 something Audi. Yeah. And it just couldn't keep up with the hills and elevations and extra things that were thrown at it. It's a fine road car, but once you just start pushing it, it can give up. It can give up. It can overheat. For in this case, he burnt his clutch, and yeah. So it's a real compromise. And something I really always emphasize: do not use any airport rentals as the Nürburgring track cars, because you sign in terms and conditions that you agree not using them on the Nürburgring. all of the cars are equipped with GPS trackers, so they will see that you've been on the track. And once they see you, you'll be fined many tens of thousands euros. And if you happen to crash it, you'll be sued for, there is a case, a guy who got sued for €250,000 because he totaled a brand new E-Class, and obviously a lot more came to that because he ignored the T&Cs. And yeah, that's something that he chose because he did 2 laps in a Nurburgring rental car, and after that he thought, why should I pay per lap as much as I pay per day for my airport rental? He took it and he totaled the car in the very first lap. So this is something you don't want to do. And also all these amazing Nürburgring photographers from whom you can buy the pictures from your car on the track, they get paid thousands of euros from rental companies to make a picture and send it to the rental companies, the airport rental companies, to as a proof that you've been on the track. Because they pay 2,000 euro for the photographer, but then they sue you for 10,000 euros and they get their money back. So there are a lot of people who want to rat you
how
out.
often does that happen then?
Often.
Yeah.
Well, definitely you have. Well, it does not happen like every day, but a couple times a week for sure that people take it out, and usually they really wreck it. And yeah, and of course there'll be friends of yours who are gonna say, "Oh, I did it. Nothing happened. They were lucky." And some people used to do it 10 years ago when it was not that strict, when you didn't have all this GPS data, and when the airport companies were not aware that Nürburgring was that popular and that was this issue. So at this point, yeah, don't take any risks. But then again, it's just my advice. You can ignore it.
Well, speaking of risks, you've been around the track how many times in total?
Thousands.
Thousands of times. And you've crashed.
Yeah.
And fairly recently as well.
Yeah, fairly recently, because it was like not even a week ago.
Yeah.
In the M4, yeah. And yeah, this just shows that no one is immune. I mean, everyone crashes. I mean, look at, once you start pushing, you need to accept that you're gonna crash. And I was smart enough to keep myself within limits at certain points, but sometimes I say, okay, the track is empty, let me go for it. The circumstances are fine. I did like 2-3 recon laps. There is no coolant, no spillages, no other cars. Let's go for a faster lap. And then you realize that there are other boundaries, because in the beginning you always need to know the car's limits. You need to know the track, obviously, where it goes left or right. Once you know where it goes left and right, you start realizing that at higher speeds the car has a small bump or a big bump that over crests. You need to actually keep the foot on the gas, so the weight distribution will be to the back, and you will not have nothing to the front. You will not suffer lift off oversteer, and you will just crash the car. So then you have those big things that you need to take into account. And once you start pushing even more, you need to take into consideration the smaller things. Like, for example, what I had was like just a small bump that made the car lift a bit at higher speeds than usual. At higher speeds, roughly like 200, well, maybe, well, slightly less, maybe 180 when the car lifts. And then the modern car, all the modern cars, they go into, well, I call it panic mode, but it's ABS ice mode. When you have less traction, the car says, no, it's too little traction, we need to apply ABS even harder. And because of that, I crashed. And in the end, I crashed because I was pushing. I always say it's your responsibility as a driver, and I should have tested something like that on a more safe environment maybe in the first place. But yeah, Nürburgring happens at some point.
So don't always assume that you can go around the track safely.
No, absolutely
without
not.
crashing.
And I always say you cannot impress anyone here. You can, but you can make everyone laugh. Yeah. So don't think that, ooh, I mean, I did sub 9 lap. Yeah. So what? I did it with the up.
And definitely, if it's your first time on the track, you highly recommend an instructor.
Absolutely.
And being one, obviously, this is probably the best place to come.
This is, yeah, because so far I never had anyone saying like, oh, you're not worth my money, or you're shit, or anything. Because again, everyone has their own purpose of having an instructor. Some people just want to have a safe lap. So they say, dude, you totally saved me because you were always looking in the mirror and telling me in advance that there was a Porsche GT3 RS coming, because you don't see them coming. They just other people again want to have a safe lap in terms of like, but having a fun lap. I have people who come and say, hey, I don't mind about like the track. You can tell me where it goes left and right, but do you mind telling me about the history of the track? I just start
really?
talking like,
Okay.
okay, this track, this corner is named Schwedenkreuz because like in the 1600 there was a Swiss army with the German-Swiss war, and they slayed the local mayor and they put a big crest and they called it the Swedish crest, and the crest still stands there, and that's why they call it like that, and such, and people absolutely love it and enjoy it. And something telling about like Lauda Links because it's named after Niki Lauda, who crashed there in 1976 and which marked the end of the Formula 1. So I have this type of people. I obviously have type of people who say, dude, I've been coming here for like 4 or 5 years and I still suck at it, and my mates laugh at me because I cannot beat sub 9 with my very high powered car. And after one lap he's already like, whoa, and he's already doing like 830. Because you simply,
You're telling them to push a little bit harder, and then
yeah, because there are a couple of corners where you just need to keep put a foot on the pedal, just go for it, because they seem to be
and the racing line as well.
Racing line, obviously this is the most important point, and sometimes you should brake later, you should stay a bit more on the left and enter the corner later and such. And yeah, there's all type of people who come. It doesn't mean, again, a lot of people think instruction is something that means that it will be someone holding you back saying, oh, brake, don't go this fast, you're gonna crash. No, because really you, like, as an instructor, you usually should be able to tell within 1 or 2 kilometers of the track to see how people are with the car. So you'll be able to say like, okay, push it, go for it, brake here later or brake earlier, because you know that someone is not pushing brake hard enough because he's scared of blocking the wheels, although the car has ABS, who again can kill you in my case. But yeah, and a lot of people think they're gonna either hold you back or B, it's admitting that you are less than someone else. But I think if you are a grown-up man, you should actually be willing to learn from someone in the first place and improve your skills. And some people just use it by YouTube videos, and others have the real input, and I think that's the most valuable thing you can have.
So for somebody coming to the track, it costs €30. How much does it cost to do
it's the lap ticket is €25 from Monday till Friday, and €30 on the weekends, and the instruction lap on top is €49. But you can also take, for example, 1 hour would be $149, or half a day is $399. You can obviously share it with your friends. So if you're coming with a group of friends and you just like say, go over us for a half a day, and in the end it's a lot. Well, all the people who have so far crashed our cars, none of them had an instructor with them, or they had a friend with them who has been here 10 times and knows the track roughly, and they said, okay, you should brake here, kinda, maybe. In the end, they said we should have spent extra €50.
Definitely worth it.
That would. That's your GoPro.
I guess it's hot on that back window.
They said you should spend extra €50 because then we wouldn't have to spend thousands of euros on the excess or the barrier damage or such, because that's also quite high here.
Yeah, because that's definitely something to take into consideration, is not only the cost of the car and the damage that you can do to the car, but damage that you can do to the track as well. Yeah,
exactly. You need to pay for that, and recovery costs as well. And then again, also the same goes when you can also take instructor in your own car. That's also another problem. When you come here with your own car, you can also have one of our instructors going with you, so they can help you out, make sure that you come back safe, and you don't need to only pay for your own car damages, but also for the track damages and such. This is also one of the biggest, like, scariest points around Nurburgring. People are aware that those costs are pretty high.
All right, well, thank you ever so much for this.
Yeah, you're
really
welcome.
Appreciate it, and hope you've enjoyed this video. Obviously, don't forget to check out Misha's channel. You got plenty of videos. You're uploading basically every day. And like you say, you're being completely honest. So whenever you crash, you're talking about it and talking about the costs and stuff like that. So definitely check out Misha's channel, and don't forget to subscribe to mine for plenty more videos as well.
See you guys at the Nurburgring.
Thank you very much.
Bye.